Hello friends, hi and welcome to the another episode of Professional Skills. In our last episode, we saw different skills which would help accelerate your career to the next level. Today we will see the mistakes that we do when we are performing these skills which may actually hurt your professional image. Why this is important? See, when you're communicating to any person, communication is by means of different ways. When it is done professionally, it can be a text message, it can be an email, or it can be your verbal communication with someone. But if you're uttering a wrong word, or if you're writing a wrong email, if you're sending an email to a wrong person with the same name, or if the message that you have returned in the email is not corrected or reviewed before you click the send button, it spoils your image. It raises questions on your productivity. It is very essential that you take care of some small things which actually help to build an image when you're using the skills in your career. My name is Shirish and you're watching Insights with me, Shirish. Today we will see different errors that we make in communication. So let us try and know more about these common mistakes which may make us look like a fool. The first mistake we do in communicating is we say yes instead of saying no. Many times it happens that we actually want to say no, but we say yes. There are different reasons for why we do this. Sometimes we just want to be in good books of the person. We don't want to spoil the relationships. At times saying no is a bit embarrassing and uncomfortable. No doesn't come easily to us because we feel that it is somewhere a rejection to what the person is saying. But factually speaking, if you really understand the logic behind saying yes or no, the person is asking you for something which you don't want to do or you are not able to do. But in spite of that, we utter a word yes. This may in long term be problematic to you because you never wanted to do that work. You may go wrong. It may raise questions on your productivity as you have done something which is not your cup of tea, tried to do it but you have failed. There are various ways of saying no. You can always say no assertively. Like if somebody is asking you to do some task, saying straight away no may be difficult, but what one can practice is I would have done it but I have this priority. It becomes an assertive sentence that I would have done it. Like you would have loved to do the job. Or you can say, I would have loved to come with you, but today I have some different thing on my cards. Or today I have something else to do in my list. This is a way of not hurting a person and saying no. If you say no bluntly, anybody will get hurt. But apart from thinking about being in a good books of that person, avoiding to say no, if you say yes, you would be ultimately ending up in a problematic situation where nor you can complete the task, nor you can do your task properly. And if you fail to do the task which you have accepted under some pressure, probably that may again be a question on your productivity. So it is always better to say no when you want to say no. Listen to your heart, understand the feelings and say no. It's a very simple word, small word. You can practice it and try and uttering it. Say no when you want to say no. When you're saying no, you should have good reason to give when you're saying no. You cannot say no simply for the sake of not doing it. If your friend is asking you to join him for some party, you need to have some reason for why you're not going with him. If your friend is handing over some task to you which you are not capable of doing it, you need to have a reason why you're not capable of doing it. Or you rather need to explain that you are overloaded with your work. So you need to have firm and good reasons when you want to say no. Like I cannot come with you because I have something else on my list, or I am already overloaded, so it may take really long for you and I would not be able to finish your work in timeline. can sound as a good reason of saying no. So whenever you say no, say confidently, give a good reason of saying no, and then simply utter a word no. Many people feel pressurized when they want to say no. They feel there may be repercussions of saying no. But yes, you need to think about the repercussions as well. But if you are spoiling the work, it is going to be the worst thing. So it's always better to say no straight away in a polite manner, giving a good reason so that the person to whom you're saying no also accepts your no. You need to practice it, and of course your practice will only help you saying no. This is a problem with many of the people around, so you are not the one who finds saying no difficult. So keep practicing and you will succeed. The second communication error where we go wrong is we react instead of responding to a situation. It happens many times that when you are into a discussion with someone, there is a difference of opinion, there are going to be clashes in any sort of meetings or corporate discussions. That is a part of our life. You need to put your foot down. Instead of reacting to any situation, if you respond to it politely, you may actually save yourself from an awkward situation. It happens that a person in a strike actually reacts to a situation in some way which he never wants to. We need to understand when there are different people in any sort of discussion, there is going to be a difference of opinion. There is going to be some clash or some spark between two different people. But the important thing that you need to understand is you both are working for one organization to achieve one goal. So ultimately it's a teamwork that you are doing. So difference of opinion is acceptable, but you are reacting to the situation is not acceptable. You may end up having a fight and escalating the discussion to a higher level. Instead of that, if you take a break of 5 minutes or so, if you note down the points that you have, if you believe in what you are thinking, and if you think that the person who is sharing his thoughts probably may be wrong, and you know all the positives and negatives, the replications of what he is saying, you can make a small note of it, discuss with the person after some 5 to 10 minutes rather than immediately reacting and jumping into the discussion. This will avoid your clash. This will avoid something which you will be feeling shameful about after some time, and of course you would be coming out with some solution when you have when you respond to the person positively rather than reacting to it. When you react to any situation, it is definitely going to be a harder time, and you are not going to come up with a solution, because when two persons have a clash, and when you have a reaction to the solution and you people fight for something, there is never an end to it. There is no solution to it. So ultimately the time that you are spending in reacting, fighting and discussing on the issues, the time goes waste. So it is rather better that you take time, you find out some notes, you find out all the positives and negatives, do all study on it, and then politely you may go and put forth your thoughts on it, which will sound like you are responding to it and not reacting to it. Try and learn the art of holding back. If you are a person who feels angry in a short time span, or if you are short tempered, learn the skill of holding it back. Learn the skill of calming yourself down. Always take a break, drink a glass of water and breathe slowly. This definitely helps out. Now you can make a list of things that you want to say. You can explain the positives and negatives of the points that you have said, and make sure that whatever you are explaining is not something that suits you, but it is something which is for benefit of that particular topic, subject or project. Third communication error which often happens is crossing the line of privacy. When you are into a professional relationship, many of us are very talkative and have the habit of making friends wherever you go. But this habit is not always of benefit to you, because when you're sharing some relation or making friends with the people around, you may go personal with the person as well. It is very essential that you maintain the dignity of the profession and you take steps to maintain professionalism between you or your colleague. You can always avoid talking casually to the person whenever you are in your office premises. You can always have evenings where you can have your personal talks. If at all you know you are quite close to anyone, any of your friends or colleagues, you need to avoid having a casual discussion or having messages, texts or emails which contain any personal data about each other. It is very essential to maintain this professionalism, because somewhere in this course you may lose the dignity and cross the line of privacy. It is never a good idea of hurting someone and crossing the line of privacy or dignity at a professional place. Doing this may lead to lot of chows and gossips around, which may be again hurting for you as well as the person in long term. Now see, this is difficult. This is not possible for everyone to behave professionally in an organization. But with practice you will learn this. We remain for almost 8 to 10 hours or more than 10 hours in our corporate offices. And it is difficult for a person to put two different masks on the face, saying this is a professional mask and this one is a personal mask. Though you cannot behave in two different ways or have two different masks throughout the day, you can try and practice being more professional, stick to your job, communicate professionally, have professional discussions only on the table whenever you're in office, and try to keep away all your personal stuff away when you're in your office premises. Keeping personal issues away from the professional environment, it helps to develop a good environment, happy environment in the office, which is very essential that the workplace has a professional environment for good productivity. Everyone has something which is very personal and very close to the heart, which if is unfolded or which if it is opened in the professional premises or at a workplace, it may complicate the situations and unnecessarily create a tension in the workplace. Try and keep the professional equation completely different from your emotions and personal issues when you are in your workplace. Keep your communication very polite and professional. See that you avoid calling anybody very casually or like a friend. The idea of sharing this point is ultimately we all should be able to work harmoniously when we are at our workplace and try to be more and more productive. Moving to the written communications. There are many errors that one needs to take care of when you're writing an email, exchanging a text message. You need to take care of some small things before you click on the send button. Let us share some of them. Firstly, many people have a habit of writing long emails. It needs to be short and need to have the topic mentioned in a brief manner. But it happens, sometimes it may happen that you have long emails. It's okay. But then how to check this long emails? First is you need to review it before you are sending. You need to actually see the spelling mistakes if at all they are in the email. You need to see the punctuations before you are clicking on the send button. It happens that there are people of similar name in the organization, so again you need to recheck the two column when you are sending email to whom you are sending, if he is the right person. Again, reading an email may give you an idea of using a wrong word, or it may make you realize if you have written something in a wrong manner. You need to understand if such a mail would have been sent to you, how you must have felt. And if you would have felt good, then yes, you can go ahead and click the send button. But before sending, do take care that you review it once again, you check all the spelling mistakes, punctuations, and the person to whom you are sending it. Emails should be always followed by a you to send the email and the person to accept the email whatever you have sent. Next important thing in email is do not ever send good or bad emails. Now what are these good or bad emails? Good or bad emails are those emails which are associated with some good news or some bad news. Good news can be a promotion and bad news can be a demotion. So similar cases, when it happens, it becomes awkward for us to send the email, or you actually feel awkward to discuss with the person such situations. But it is very essential that you document it. So it is always better that you call the person first, talk to him, inform him about the decision that you have taken. If it is about a promotion, of course, call the person to your desk, congratulate him, tell him how productive he has been, offer him some sweet if possible, and then give him the information of his promotion. And post your discussion, you can send an email. On the contrary, if you are having a bad news, you can follow the same route. You can call the person to your desk, offer him something, tea or coffee, make him comfortable, and then share about his productive figures, that he has achieved the targets or not, what is really going wrong, where he should improve, and see that you lend a hand to him, you offer an help to him, and then you give him decisions that you have taken basis on his performance. Post this discussion, you can always send an email. So avoid sending a good and a bad email without having discussions with the person. Next, never delay any confrontation which needs to be done immediately. It happens that we always avoid situations when it is critical for you to talk to people or confront somebody. It is essential that you actually take a step and do the confrontation as possibly fast as you can do it. You should never avoid it, or you should never make it late to confront anyone when there are some issues which needs to be discussed on priority. Confrontation is not comfortable. It can sometimes make you uneasy, and many a times then people prefer to write a mail rather than confronting the person. But it is not a solution to it. If you confront a person, talk to him, probably you may come out with a solution or understand the situation in a better way. But before you call anyone for doing any sort of confrontation, you need to have all your homework done. You need to know the situation, you need to know the facts, you need to know the figures that you are going to talk about. At times, it may be a bit uncomfortable, you may fall short of words, but then you can again make a note of it. Try and make it more comfortable for the person to whom you are going to talk to. Note down all the positives and negatives of the situation, take all the figures, make it more comfortable and more objective for you to speak. See that when you're doing this, you are not hurting the person who's sitting in front of you. In fact, the person should feel that though you are confronting him, you always want to help him. You are lending a hand to him so that he comes out from that situation. But in your case, if you are feeling bit low and you're holding yourself back and confronting someone, it may be loss at your end. So you need to call the person, talk to him, and see that you do all your homework, you have all your notes ready, you have the right words in place when you're talking to him. For this, if you want, you can rehearse this when you're all alone, and try to be more objective when you're talking to the person. See that whenever you're confronting somebody, you are respectful to the person, and your personal opinion is not clouding the entire discussion. And last but not the least, which plays a very important role, is do not assume that people have understood you. When you're communicating to any person at your level, you feel that you have given all the required information and you have done with your job. But probably the other end may have been left open and the person has not really understood what you have said. Suppose if you are a team leader and you are explaining about a project to your teammates, you have told them about the project, you have told them about the target, and you are waiting for them to come back with some results. but probably something that you have communicated to them has not reached them. They may be working on the targets and the project, but they are really not aware that they have to come back to you on so and so deadline, or at some point they need to come back to you. So for this, the communication should be clear and transparent. Take time to discuss, make every point clear to your team. See that you sit with them, you discuss the entire project with them, tell them the targets, give them the figures, also give them the deadline, and let them clearly know that on so and so date, during so and so time, they need to come back to you and hand over so and so things to you, or the project or the result of whatever their action is, they have to submit it to you. Probably this may take time, but you have to put your hard work in it, making people explain it. Also, what you can do is, post you have explained them, you can prepare a small email with all the clarity of points that you have discussed and mention it in the email, and then shoot the email to all your teammates, understanding or making them understand in a better way, having a guideline in their hand, giving a guideline in their hand. This will make your communication clear as well as transparent. It will also help your teammates to get clarity on something probably which they have missed or they were not sure about. Always keep the communication, two ends of communication closed. See that when you are starting with, you get an acceptance from the person when you finish your communication. Absolute clarity is must in professional communication to avoid any sort of confusion. Let me remind you that if you have 10 people in your team and you are trying to explain them some project, but at the end of the discussion, if any one person is not clear about it, he would talk to all those 10 person, and confusion increases or multiplies when it is discussed with other people. So the person, he himself who has not understood, will multiply the confusion to other people. So it's better that you actually have a closed-ended discussion with everybody. You conduct meetings, you have an action plan, you have the target figures, and you have the deadline as well. Giving all the clarity to your teammates would close the communication in such a way that you would get the end results as you're expecting. These are the small communications errors which happen when you are at your workplace. You may note it, you may not note it, sometimes you may ignore it. Sending a wrong mail is not a big deal, but sending a wrong mail, uttering a wrong word, or behaving casually at workplace may actually take a toll on your productivity and on your professional career as well. You need to be very serious and you need to be quite professional when you're dealing with your colleagues at your workplace. So all the best. I believe these insights on communication errors will definitely help you in your workplace. If you like to hear something more on such topics, do let me know in the comments. And thank you very much for staying with me till the end of this video. Thank you.